The Haley O Show. Every Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Only on balls.co.za.
To have you back in studio for our Wellness Wise feature. Steve started off last week and we've got him back. He's going to have a weekly feature on the Haley O Show, just helping you, giving you a few guidelines on how to get yourself better balanced and live a fitter, healthier life.
Yeah, sounds
How does
good.
that sound? Does that sound?
Sounds good.
How's your week been, Steve?
It's been very good. Very good.
Sasha is showing us what wellness is behind Steve.
Big guns.
So what have you got up to this week?
Last night I went to watch Jersey Boys.
How
which was
brilliant.
Fantastic. It was great.
But it is so brilliant.
No, it really is.
I was so impressed.
I watched the West End version, and I'd say this is on a par, if not
How's
better
that?
even. Yeah, it was brilliant.
We actually spoke to one of the cast members on the show, and he was saying how strict the Americans were with them to make sure it was of an international standard,
Sure.
and they've succeeded.
You can
right?
see they worked hard. It was so
Slick.
tight and slick, and yeah, it was very good.
I was so impressed. So I would rush out and get your tickets now if you haven't got tickets, because it's going to be sold out. Word of mouth is going to spread, and those guys are going to have full houses every night, and they're going to be living the dream for a few
definitely.
weeks. I think so. But yeah, and I think everyone will enjoy it. Hey.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, you'll recognize all the songs, even if you weren't around in the 50s and 60s.
No, definitely. A few choice words, but I mean, it's part of the whole vibe, they're swearing and that, so you've got young little kids that you don't want them to expose to that. Think about that. But I think it's apt. It's for the sort of time, so it sort of fits into the show.
Oh, I thought it was so good. Cool. So anything else?
Can't think right now. It's been a good week.
I must tell you, I've been so good with my water this week. Steve told us last week the 6 principles for well-being, and one of them was to keep hydrated.
Yeah.
And so I've been having my water bottle next to me everywhere I go, and it feels good, hey?
Feeling better? Good.
But obviously on a cold morning like this, it's not as easy.
Yeah, no, sure.
Water. Tea's going to win in the end. Anyway, what are we chatting about today?
Okay, we're chatting about my blog for the week, which is no pain, no gain, seems a little insane. So it's just my take on that mantra that a lot of people like to use, and whether it's useful or not.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Ahead of Iron Man, it's probably a good topic, because I mean, there are going to be guys and girls going through pain they never imagined.
Sure.
And of course, there are lots of people out there training for the comrades as well.
Of course.
So cool. We'll get to No Pain, No Gain with Steve after this. Right. We with Wellness Wise, the Wellness Wise feature with Steve, and we're talking pain.
Yes.
So what is good pain and what is bad pain?
Okay, yeah, cool. So we're going to chat about no pain, no gain, that mantra, and whether it's useful or not. So before we start, I think we should identify what pain is, that we know if it is a correct mantra, then what this pain is that we're chasing in order to gain. So I'll try and keep things simple, but pain's essentially a message from your brain to your body that something's either potentially wrong or potentially damaged or compromising your system. So it's a signal. Within that context, you would think that a logical response to such a signal would be to stop doing what's causing the pain, to be mindful of what is perhaps causing the pain and take different steps in the future, and that kind of thing. So in other words, cease the pain.
Sure.
So that's a logical way of looking at it. Okay. However, there is also that idea, which I do believe in, that pain can be a teacher, and pain perhaps can also be a stepping stone to further development and growth. Okay.
How is pain going to teach me anything?
So I think it applies more to me personally, to emotional, mental, spiritual, that kind of pain. So going through a tough, stressful time, you learn from it, you grow and develop. Now perhaps it applies to the physical too. That's what I'm sort of going to discuss now, but we'll see. So if it were to apply to the physical, we need to identify what gain we're getting from the pain. So I like to look at the relationship between pain and stress in this regard.
Okay.
Now, for me, pain is an expression of stress, or more accurately, for me, an expression of too much stress.
Right.
Okay.
And we're talking physically now.
Yeah. Let's just for the purposes of physical dimension. So if there's good pain and bad pain, there should be good stress and bad stress, and there is. So there's something called eustress, it's EU stress, and distress. So eustress is a kind of stress that promotes growth and development. So it's something that challenges the system, whether it be your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, to adapt and therefore grow and become stronger, more developed.
But is that kind of stress good at the time, or you don't realize that it's good at the time?
Well, it would be good at the time. However, if you were to plot it on a graph, the graph would rise and the stress, and you're still in this good, positive place where the eustress is beneficial. But then you reach like a tipping point where it becomes too much stress, and then it'll massively drop and it becomes damaging, detrimental, dysfunctional, all that kind of stuff. And I think, in my mind, the obvious signal of that tipping point would be pain, telling you, oh, time to stop.
Okay.
In terms of the overall system, the sort of integrity and function of the system. Okay, but now obviously there's lots of, like you mentioned, there's guys doing Ironman athletes, and there's rugby players pushing themselves through the pain barrier, all that kind of stuff. So there's validity behind it in that respect. However, I'm addressing your average man or woman
that's not doing a 12-hour race on Sunday.
And also, they've been taught no pain, no gain, so they smash themselves at the gym, and it'll have detrimental effects, especially if they're already physiologically overloaded. So they've got other stresses from not eating well, not sleeping enough, not drinking enough water, all that kind of stuff. So they'll already be compromised to an extent, too much stress.
So you're saying if they're feeling the pain, they must stop?
Well, if they are already stressed, yes. So most sportsmen are going to be healthy. They're going to be living fairly healthy lifestyles. They'll have a low physiological load. They can handle more stress and therefore more pain. If you take your typical executive who's massively stressed out at work and living an unhealthy lifestyle, I'm not saying everyone is, but it's quite a common scenario.
Sure.
You just look at it like a bucket. Adding all these stresses into a bucket as such, your body, or at a cellular level, sees this stress as the same stress. And it just builds up, builds up, builds up. If you then add in
physical
intense exercise, especially say painful exercise, it's more stress, it's going to overflow, and then you're going to be injured, dysfunctional. And that's obviously not a good goal to chase.
But then how do you know when to stop it? Because obviously you're training and you want your training session to be worthwhile.
Sure, definitely.
When do you know when,
so I think you need to cultivate mindfulness and awareness and start listening to your body. Now, when you are very unhealthy, you're quite disconnected from your body, so it might be a bit difficult. So in that regard, you need someone that knows, if you are working with a trainer or a coach, someone that knows what they're doing and aren't just pushing this typical paradigm of no pain, no gain. You should be able to challenge the system whilst you're still in that eustress zone, but then if you start experiencing pain, it could be neurological, it could be causing an issue, and therefore you want to take action and stop. So I think bring mindfulness to your exercise.
So in other words, you've got to know your body and be able to realize when enough is enough.
Definitely.
So mindfulness is knowing yourself and
yes,
knowing what your body, where you can push your body to.
I mean, so in this context, this is my opinion, if I feel the no pain, no gain mantra is not suitable for most people and it's not beneficial, then I should supply some other alternative philosophies. And I pretty much have 4.
Okay.
So when it comes to exercise, think of functional. Are the movements you're doing functional? Are they relevant to your needs, whether it be sporting needs or everyday life needs? So are they benefiting you in that regard? Are they improving your function? That's the first thing to look at. Second is good form and technique. So this is crucial. Our body relies on proper movement patterns to create vitality and also to create a sound mind. The body-mind connection is very strong. So in this regard, if we are incorporating faulty movement patterns into our exercise, which are often correlated with pain. If you're in pain, you're not moving properly.
Yeah.
You're going to be teaching yourself faulty movement patterns.
Okay.
As well as when you're in pain, neurologically you can, because it's so intense, you imprint that into your nervous system to more of a degree than if you weren't. So it's a bit counterintuitive, but you're actually further imprinting this faulty movement pattern into your system when you're in massive pain like that.
Okay. So technique.
Technique's very important, yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, having fun is supremely important. You want to enjoy what you're doing. And for most people, being in excruciating pain is not going to be...
But what about people enjoy the final result? So what if you're in a lot of pain in a race or in your training session and you're not having fun, but you know that if you finish it, you finish the race or you get to your goal, you're going to enjoy yourself?
Sure. I mean, there is that argument to a degree, but it depends what that final goal is. If the final goal is to finish the race and then be out of action for the next 6 months due to, an injury, then obviously that's not a holistic goal. But each to their own. And there are
got to be aware of the sacrifice.
Yes, you need to be clear on why you're doing what you're doing. And obviously, I think at the end of the day, we all do want to be vital and high performing, and you need to be, you can't be injured to do that. So listening to the body is important there. Also, if we're not enjoying what we're doing, we're probably going to stop doing what we're doing as well. So in terms of a retention perspective, enjoy what you're doing. And then the last one, I've already mentioned this, is mindfulness. So bring mindfulness, awareness, intention to what you're doing, and it can become almost like a spiritual practice, your exercise. And that's ideally what you want it to be. You want it to be, deeper in mind, body, and all that kind of stuff, which improves your vitality and decreases your stress levels.
I think a lot of people do use exercise as that as an escape of some form. Where their mind kind of goes somewhere else.
Definitely.
When they're just going about their everyday
Definitely,
life.
It can be that.
So when you're dealing with pain, you're saying you need to consider whether whatever you're doing is functional, whether it's functional, whether your technique is correct,
definitely,
whether you're enjoying yourself,
and
whether you're being mindful about it, whether it's good for you mentally.
So from the mindful perspective, rather than escape, actually placing your mind in your body, so becoming, going inside yourself without being too esoteric.
Sure, you need to be aware of your body.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Rather than just think, I'm going to smash this through the pain and then faint.
So if I were to ask you, do you agree with no pain, no gain? You would say no.
I would say no in most cases.
Okay.
Like I said, with some highly conditioned sportsmen, then yes, but that'll be a different kind of pain. It'll be that eustress where they're challenging their body and it's intense, but it's not necessarily that acute destructive pain. I think there's a difference.
Okay. And do you believe, I certainly believe that some people, it's obvious that some people have a higher pain threshold than others.
Sure.
And some people can push through the pain in a workout or in any physical endurance, and some people just can't. But I have this opinion that the people that are able to push through pain are always going to look better and train harder and feel better. And I, with a low pain threshold, I'm always kind of envious of those people that can, do that extra set of sit-ups and lunges.
I wouldn't say, I'd say maybe look better, depends on what your perception of what looking better is, but in terms of feeling better and so on, probably not. Like I said, it depends on where they are at when they're doing it. If they already super stressed and all that kind of stuff, unhealthy, then it'll be a negative thing. If it's poor form, so in other words, they're pushing that last sit-up, but it's in poor form, and then it'll be compromising your body and therefore your vitality. So I would think it wouldn't be beneficial.
So you're saying that if you're quite stressed out, you shouldn't. Are you saying you shouldn't train too hard? Whereas some people feel they need to train hard if they're stressed as like a stress release.
They would do. It's almost like being addicted to stress. When you are too stressed out and not at a nice, balanced, low physiological load level, you want to do energy cultivating exercises. So more slow, mindful movements, yoga, tai chi, light jogs, walks, that kind of stuff. And then until you've got a healthy lifestyle, and then you can start improving.
So it's not actually good to train hardcore when you're stressed out.
Not. If you can't make each exercise session 1% more intense than the previous time, don't do it. Rather do energy cultivation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so maybe the song is appropriate for a cold, cloudy Friday morning, but it did kind of kill the vibe there.
It was actually quite appropriate for the topic of the wellness and pain. Everybody hurts.
Everybody hurts. And today we're talking about whether no pain, no gain is the right attitude to have when you're training or going about your life. And what Steve's been telling us is that, especially here in Joburg, we have this go, go, go attitude. And we don't necessarily consider whether we're doing what's right for our bodies. bodies. A lot of us don't spend enough time recovering, and we try and push ourselves too hard when we are stressed already. So, Steve, maybe you want to sum up a bit more what you've
Sure.
been saying?
Well, I'd say you did it quite well there.
Sorry, I just stole your summary.
No, that's good. Yeah, it's about just becoming mindful of why you're doing what you're doing when it comes to, just for today's example, exercise. Making it functional, enjoying what you're doing, becoming mindful of your movements, so placing your mind on the body parts you're working out, knowing, just making it more of a spiritual practice in a sense, and less ego. And then also good form and technique is vital. And I think movement exercise should be like a celebration of the body rather than something that's destructive.
Sure. I think a lot of people become so superficial when it comes to exercise in particular that you forget that you must actually try and enjoy it and get something more out of it other than like a toned bicep.
And you can do both. You can build an aesthetically pleasing body without smashing yourself at the gym, for example.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for coming in today. I'll be aware of that when I do my Sweat 1000 class this afternoon.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I hope you've all got a good weekend planned. Let us know what you're up to at Balls Radio. We've got Vanessa Hayward coming up, model, actress, and athlete. So we'll be talking to her in just a few moments. Have a cool weekend, Steve.
Thank you. You too.
What you up to this weekend, I have to ask?
Probably just chilling. We'll see.
Okay.
Can I just mention quickly, if anyone would like to check out my website, it's healcoaching.com. My Facebook is facebook.com/wellnessjohannesburg. And my Twitter is healcoach.
Heel Coach.
Yeah.
And all the blogs, all the topics that Steve chats about to us on the Haley O Show are on his website.
Yes,
so you can pick that up at healcoaching.co.za.
.com.
Healcoaching.com.
Yeah.
The Haley O Show. Every Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Only on balls.co.za.